Rent a Girlfriend. Season 1. Heartbreak hurts. And for Kazuya Kinoshita, it hit like a truck. At just 20 years old, he thought he'd finally found love. His first real girlfriend, Mami Nanami, smiled at him sweetly for a month, and then dumped him, cold and effortless, like their relationship had meant nothing. Shattered, lonely, and desperate, Kazuya spirals into the kind of place where bad decisions are born. That's when he stumbles across something unusual, an app that lets you rent a girlfriend. Not a real one, of course. Just someone to hold your hand for a few hours, pretend to care, and then walk away once the time is up. With a bruised ego and an empty heart, Kazuya taps the rent button, and that's how he meets her. Chizuru Mizuhara. She's stunning, sweet, perfect. The kind of girl every guy dreams of. On their first date, she plays the role flawlessly, listening to him, smiling at all the right times, making him feel, just for a moment, like the luckiest man alive. Kazuya almost believes it's real, until he checks the reviews and realizes she's just as perfect for every other guy too. Bitter and humiliated, he lashes out, leaving her a bad review. But when Chizuru confronts him, her mask slips. She's sharp-tongued, blunt, and far from the angelic girlfriend he thought she was. The illusion shatters. Yet before they can walk away from each other forever, Kazuya's phone rings. It's his grandmother. She's collapsed. Panicked, he drags Chizuru to the hospital. And in the chaos, everything spins out of control. His grandmother sees Chizuru and lights up with joy, instantly convinced this beautiful girl is her grandson's real girlfriend. To make matters worse, Chizuru's own grandmother is there too, who also believes she's finally dating someone. Caught between two families, Kazuya and Chizuru are trapped in a lie neither of them can undo. And so begins their impossible arrangement. At first, it's awkward, painfully awkward. Kazuya is insecure, impulsive, and embarrassingly emotional. Chizuru is professional, disciplined, and constantly scolding him. They bicker, clash, and complain, yet circumstance keeps dragging them together. And strangely enough, slowly, a bond begins to form. But the past doesn't let go so easily. Mami, the ex-girlfriend who broke Kazuya's heart, hovers nearby with a smile that hides something sharper. Though she dumped him, she seems strangely unsettled by his new relationship. Manipulative, unpredictable, Mami begins to play mind games, sometimes drawing him close, other times tearing him down. Her presence lingers like a storm cloud, always threatening to unravel the fragile connection between Kazuya and Chizuru. Still, Kazuya can't stay away from Chizuru. What starts as a rental becomes something more. He rents her again and again, telling himself it's just for appearances, but the truth runs deeper. Beneath the arguments and disasters, he starts to see the real Chizuru. Not just the flawless girlfriend for hire, but a hard-working young woman chasing her dream of becoming an actress. Someone carrying her own burdens, just as he does. And just when things can't get more complicated, another girl enters the picture. Ruka Sarashina. She's another rental girlfriend, but very different from Chizuru. When she crosses paths with Kazuya, she notices something unusual. His kindness. His messy, clumsy, sometimes pathetic, but undeniably genuine heart. And unlike Chizuru, she doesn't want to pretend. She wants to be his real girlfriend. Bold, fiery, and relentless, Ruka throws herself at Kazuya, declaring war on Chizuru for his affection. Now, Kazuya finds himself caught in a storm. His fake relationship with Chizuru, the pushy advances of Ruka, and the manipulative games of Mami. And through it all, he keeps stumbling, embarrassing himself again and again, but always finding ways to prove his sincerity. When Chizuru doubts herself, he's there, cheering her on. When her dreams feel out of reach, he supports her in ways no one else notices. For all his flaws, Kazuya's heart is real, and that reality starts to break through Chizuru's carefully built walls. But emotions are messy. Chizuru insists it's only business. She has no room for distractions, especially from a clumsy, awkward boy like Kazuya. And yet, every time he risks his pride for her, every time he shows up when no one else does, something in her begins to shift. She tells herself it's just professional courtesy. She tells herself she doesn't care. But her heart betrays her with small, undeniable cracks. The lies grow harder to maintain. Families continue believing the romance is real. Ruka pushes harder to claim Kazuya for herself, and Mommy, with her sly smile, edges closer to exposing the truth. Everything builds toward the summer trip, a boiling point of jealousy, accusations, and raw emotion. Mommy challenges Chizuru directly, Ruka demands to be seen, and Kazuya finds himself cornered, torn between truth and illusion. And in the middle of it all, he realizes something crystal clear. Chizuru isn't just a rental to him anymore. She's someone he genuinely, deeply cares about. And finally, he tries to tell her. With all the courage he can muster, he looks at her and says the words that have been burning inside him. He doesn't want her to be his rental girlfriend anymore. He wants her to be his real one. For a moment, everything stops. Chizuru's heart skips, because part of her has been waiting for this. But then, Kazuya panics. His insecurity crashes back, and he backtracks, covering his confession by insisting he meant it in the context of the rental. Chizuru, stunned, hides her own emotions behind a practiced smile. Neither of them admits the truth, though both can feel it pulsing between them. And that's how Season 1 closes. Not with a neat ending, but with a dangerous, delicate tension. A fake relationship that feels real. A boy too scared to admit what he feels. A girl too stubborn to lower her guard. Two hearts circling each other, trapped between lies and longing. The question left hanging in the air is the same one that carried us through the entire season. When love begins as pretend, can it ever truly become real?